Hey, are you a business owner, entrepreneur, or professional? If so, we want you to apply to be a featured guest on our show. My name is Adam Torres, and I host the Mission Matters series of podcasts. I've recorded over 3,000 episodes, and we are just getting started. How do you know if you'd be a good guest to be on the show? Well, only one way to find out, and that's to apply, but I'm going to let you in on a little secret. We want guests that have a story to tell, guests with a brand, a product, or a service that can benefit my audience of listeners. If this sounds like you, go to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. I'd love to talk to you and get to know more about your story. Again, head on over to missionmatters.com and click on Be Our Guest to apply. All right, now let's get into the show. Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Mission Matters. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so I have Jessica Fuller on the line, and she's founder and CEO of The Hot Yoga Spot, and she's also CEO and co-founder at Bear Blends. Jess, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
All right, so what a topic you picked today. Believe you can, and you are halfway there. So inspirational. Excited to hear your take on this. And just to get us started, so Jess, we at Mission Matters amplify stories for entrepreneurs, executives, and experts. Jess, what mission matters to you?
That's a great question. I think for me, the mission that matters is creating businesses that really help people and have a profound impact on the quality of their life. You know, I've worked over the last decade to create businesses that help people feel better, help them eat better, help them, be happier with who they are as a person. And I think for me, it's been really rewarding to be able to create these business opportunities for myself and the people that work with me, but also do it in a way that impacts the community in a really positive way.
Oh, that's awesome. And I love bringing these mission-based entrepreneurs on the show and introducing them to our audience. I mean, I think it's just wonderful what you're doing. And speaking of opening up businesses and doing different things in the space, I mean, over the last 10 years, you've had quite a bit of growth. Like how did this all happen?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I went to school and I went for education. And when I got my master's, it was during the recession, so teachers were getting laid off. It was impossible to find a job, and I loved hot yoga. I was doing it regularly, and I just kind of had this idea, there weren't a lot of studios in the area. If I opened a studio, I could maybe do that, part-time or until what I thought was going to be my career, the teaching thing happened. So I was only 22 years old. I had never taken a business class before. I got most of my business advice from my dad. I had a small business loan I took out that I actually had to have co-signed because I didn't even have any credit at the time as a 22-year-old. And I just opened a studio. I went for it, and I just really believed that if, I may not have the business experience, but if I worked hard, I was dedicated to it, I believed in it, that it would happen. So that's what I did. At 22 years old, I opened my first studio, and I worked really hard. We got really popular. I was able to pay back my loan really quickly, and then I was able to self-fund a bunch of other studio locations. We now have 5 The Hot Yoga Spot locations across upstate New York. And from there, I was able to start investing in other business opportunities that all focused on wellness, helping people. And in 10 years, almost 11 years now, we've been able to grow to a lot of different businesses in the area that people really enjoy.
So I want to stay with those earlier years for a little bit longer, and then we'll move on into some of the things that you're doing now. But because I think it's interesting. So obviously, a lot of people maybe go to different businesses or like hot yoga or other things, and they're like, "Man, this is a great idea. Like I could do this." What causes you to go from like just having this idea to then like taking action? Because there's a difference. Like it takes something else, and especially if you did that at such a young age, I think it's pretty interesting. So what causes someone to go out there and just take action?
Yeah, I think a big part of it, and I don't know, you have to be the type of person that's okay with risk and is okay being in charge of themselves and being organized and self-motivating. But For me, when I was brought up, my parents always told me, you can do anything. If you work hard, you can do it. So I kind of had that mindset already. And when I opened my first business, I was very young. I didn't have business experience, but I tried to do it in as safe a way as possible. I made sure that I started with a small studio location. I had 2 other jobs at the time, so I knew that between those other jobs and any potential income from the new business that I would at least be able to cover my bills. So I didn't overextend myself. It obviously was still risky because I was so young, but I tried to make smart decisions anyway and just make sure that I wasn't going to put myself in a bad spot financially. But I think ultimately, what I've learned in the last 11 years I've been doing this is that there's something to be said for being first, and you're never going to be ready. Like, there's never going to be a time when it isn't scary in some way to open a business. There just isn't.
I'm still not ready. I tell people that all the time. I'm not ready for this entrepreneur thing. They're like, what do you mean? You've been doing it so long. I'm like, I'm still not ready. It's still painful. I'm going to get 5 emails today that I'm going to be like, why do I do this?
Yeah, anytime I sign a lease, I'm nervous, and anytime we grow or we change, it's scary. So I think the difference between wanting to do it and doing it is just getting comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable and, knowing that when you own a business, there's a lot of risk, but there's also a lot of reward, and at the end of the day, you get to control your own destiny in a way that you'll never be able to if you don't take that risk. So I think a lot of it is just starting to wrap your head around that mindset, for sure.
I agree with you completely. And I'm nervous that even hearing you say the word sign a lease now after everything we've been through over this last year, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to, and just hearing you say it, it makes me nervous. So, yeah, I agree with you. It does take a little bit something extra there to be able to go through and to really just go after it, because there's no guarantee, that's for sure. So I get it.
Yeah.
So now let's go a little bit further down the journey. So obviously you've opened up many businesses now, and you find yourself, from what I can see, definitely a pillar in the health and wellness industry. Let's talk a little bit more about at least a couple of the companies. So, tell us a little bit more about the Hot Yoga Spot.
Yeah, so the Hot Yoga Spot is a hot yoga and bar fitness studio with 5 locations in upstate New York. We have a very boutique feel. We're smaller. Each location's around 2,000 square feet. Our classes, especially, before last year, they'd be packed. We'd have 50 or 60 people showing up for class. And even now that restrictions are lifting a little, we're definitely seeing more people come back every day, which is great. And ultimately the goal of the Hot Yoga Spot, our classes, a lot of people come to us for fitness. They want to lose weight, they want to tone up. But ultimately what they end up getting is so much more. Our classes at the studio are able to give you relief from chronic pain. If you were in a car accident or you have arthritis or you're dealing with, these physical ailments and illnesses, we're able to help with that a lot of times, back pain, stuff like that. Also mentally and emotionally, when you're doing yoga and you're spending time every day or a few days a week checking into your breath, checking into your mental state, prioritizing wellness, you start to feel the differences, and it starts to kind of spill into other areas of your life. So a lot of times, even though we are a fitness business, people end up taking so much more than just fitness from our classes. And I think that's ultimately why people love the studio so much and why they keep coming back.
Amazing. And so let's also talk about Bear Blends. Tell us a little bit more about that company.
Yeah, so Bear Blends is great. That was born in 2018. It actually started, I wanted to put a juice bar concept next door to my busiest Hot Yoga Spot studio. So space came available. I signed a lease for it. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with it, but I just thought it would be great to have a juice bar for my yoga clients to go to. I found my partner, Annie Berdar. She's my business partner now for Bear Blends. She had a lot of experience with creating food that was really delicious and that was healthy for people. She actually has a pretty extensive science background. So we teamed up and opened this company, Bear Blends. And honestly, it's become so much busier than I ever dreamed. In just 3 years, we have not only 3 corporate locations, but we also have a really beautiful franchise system that already has units set to open in Colorado, in Florida. We have candidates in North Carolina and South Carolina that are ready to sign. We have a bunch of franchises that are set to open in New York State later this year. So it's amazing. This juice bar concept that I really only opened to serve my studio population has all of a sudden become this booming business that is really helping people. And one of the things that's really great about Bear Blends is the fact that everything we serve there is plant-based, vegan, gluten-free. So not only is it really delicious, but it's really nutritious. And a lot of people with, some severe food restrictions, dietary needs, they're able to go to a place now where their needs are being met. They're getting the food that they want and they deserve. And it's been a really nice offering for the community for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. And are both, tell us a little bit more about the franchise opportunity. So are you still looking for people? Are you still open to expansion there? And by the way, are both franchisable? So the yoga studio and also Bear Blends? Or give us a little bit of kind of the, because there's a lot of people that listen to this show also looking for business opportunities. So
well, there you go.
Just want to make sure we get that out there.
No, that's great. So, so Bear is definitely a franchise opportunity that has a lot of potential. Like I said, we have candidates right now pretty much all over the country, and some deals already set to happen all over the country. So that's definitely something that we're interested in exploring. We actually get inquiries for it every day. If somebody wants to learn more about it, they can just go to bearblendsfranchise.com. That's BARE Blends-franchise.com. That has all the information on there. And honestly, it's a great way for somebody to not only be a business owner, but to have a business that they can be really proud of, that they know is helping people. We also are really focused at Bear on promoting the environment. So we don't use any animal products. We always use anything we can to just help the environment reduce any type of garbage, anything like that. That's pretty much, it's integral to who we are as a business. So people that share those values and also want to own a profitable business, this is a great opportunity for them for sure. And then for the hot yoga spot, that is a franchise system as well that I created. That at the moment, we're not accepting any new franchisees for, just because everything that happened last year, we want to give fitness a little more time to come back and for people to get a little bit more comfortable doing fitness in general before we start actively selling the hot yoga spot franchise again. But Bear is a great franchise opportunity for people right now, because if anything, the last year has not only shown them how important it is to prioritize your health and eat food that's good for you, but also as a quick serve concept. Bear did really well during the pandemic because it's traditionally grab and go. People order online and take food with them. So, just because of that model, it's flourishing and thriving now, despite what's going on in the world.
Man, that's awesome. Love to hear people thriving and thinking of new creative ways to get things done and to be of value and really just to be of service, which is what you're doing. So, Jess, I'll tell you, this has been great having you on the show. I just love your energy, love what you're doing, and love the thought process of how your businesses grew and how you reinvested. And I mean, I know there's plenty more stories you got there, but we're about out of time for today. So that being said, Jess, if somebody is listening to this right now and they want to learn more about the hot yoga spot or even about Bear Blends or just connecting with your brand overall, I mean, what's the best way for people to do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our website is thehotyogaspot.com or bearblends.com. And then if you want to find us on social media, on Instagram, you can just search The Hot Yoga Spot. Or for Bear, you can search Bear, BARE_blends, BLENDS. Those are the best ways just to see kind of what these businesses are about, what we're creating, what we're doing, and to stay in touch with us. And like I said, if anybody is interested in learning more, especially about owning a Bear Blends, if they want to own a juice bar, work in a fun environment, they can go right to the franchise website, and my contact info is on there. So they can shoot me an email, we can get the ball rolling, and ultimately work to help them become business owners.
Fantastic. Well, Jess, again, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and really what you do in your mission. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. Hope you learned a lot. If you did, don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Definitely want you to be a return listener and return visitor. Have many more great mission-based entrepreneurs out there for you. And Jess, thanks again for coming to the show. It really has been fun.
Of course, my pleasure. Thank you so much.